Hello everyone and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. In today's material we'll be pondering the question, does my cat really love me or is it just all about the food? Because cats do have a bit of a reputation for being aloof, an owner can easily jump to the conclusion that it's really all about the food and hey, my cat only cares because I'm the one holding the goods. Before we attempt to uncover the truth, let's first take a look at today's topic overview. Some cats use their owners for food, but that's not the case with all of them. Humans provide protection and affection that some animals crave. Many cats bond with their owners, so their connection goes deeper than food. However, if your cat has a medical issue, nutritional deficiency, or a condition such as pica or psychogenic abnormal feeding behavior, it's more likely to become obsessed with food. So, as we can see, there is a lot more to this topic than meets the eye. The question actually is far more in depth than is it me or is it food? It's way more complex than just that situation alone. Depending on the environment and your cat's general relationship with you and with food, there could be several complexities at work. However, for the sake of today's core topic, we'll just stick to the basics, or at least we'll attempt to just stick to the fundamental basics. And before we get down to business, a quick shout out to you, the viewer. Thank you for stopping by today. We are grateful that you've decided to spend a few minutes of your day with us. And we know that you could be just about anywhere on the internet, yet you are right here. And for that, we are very much appreciative. We always appreciate you, and we do thank you for your support. Whether this is your first video or you've been here for years, the viewers help keep the motor running. And for that, we do thank you. We hope you find today's content to be helpful and informative, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Now, does my cat love me for me, or is it all about that food? Let's explore. The truth is out there. Let's begin with the basics. What is the main reason why a cat would just use you for food? If a cat did use you for just food, why would that be the case? Why would that be? Especially if you're the actual owner, right? Like, how could this happen? The main answer is that a bond hasn't been formed. You're simply a means to an end. This somewhat plays on that old stereotype of a cat, right? They lack feelings, they're aloof, and they're just in it for what people can do for them, the whole 9 yards. As we've mentioned in other videos and our other, written material, that whole in it for themselves aspect is true to some degree. Even with bonded cats, felines are hardwired to live in self-preservation mode. And while that tough exterior can be chipped away, especially if you've owned your cat since your pet was born, it's still all about looking for a number one, even if the presentation is a bit different. If you own what could be deemed as the ultimate independent cat, then all this could be very much true. Your cat is indeed only in it for the food. However, the big caveat, the good news for you is that you can change this dynamic over time. Cats love human interaction, and the more you engage with your cat far beyond just mealtime, the more even the most set in its ways and contrary feline will slowly open up to you, sort of like peeling back layers of an onion. The more you play with your cat, pet your cat, and interact, the more your independent cat will gain trust in you. And as time passes, your cat will choose your affection, and it'll be because your cat wants that attention from you. Attention and a bond that goes beyond just mealtime. So many cat owners have either owned or just come across a cat that was a little harder to handle in terms of engagement, a tough egg to crack, as they say. This type of cat would likely fall under the my cat only loves me for food umbrella. So just generally speaking, why do cats love their owners, right? Why do they want us for more than food? Here are a few critical needs that we provide that they acknowledge, and that's the key word, acknowledgement. We offer protection. We offer a shelter away from the elements, a shelter from predators. We offer a safe haven where they can actually let their guard down. While some cats will have a tough time doing this because cats are hardwired to be on the lookout, once your pet has a bond with you, they'll be more at ease and more at home. They'll not only begin to realize that, hey, I've got a shelter, but they'll learn in their own unique way to be thankful and appreciative, and they'll be thankful to you. Cats can also love us for the affection we provide that goes beyond both food and shelter. The interaction, the playtime, the petting, the general association. This is another way to build trust. And speaking of building trust, when you factor in the food, in the shelter, in the affection, now that leads us to the bonding part. The most critical, cats will make distinct attachments to the people they know and trust. And the passing of time, coupled with positive behaviors on your part, will only enhance this bond. Cats long to be in a safe environment that is peaceful and quiet. Once they know that you are the provider of that safe haven and that you'll never mistreat them, they'll not only grow to trust you, they'll grow to have a strong connection with you. As a pet owner, this is the grand slam moment. The grand slam moment. If your cat ever did look at you for just food, like, hey, that's a walking food truck, if those days ever existed, those days will be gone as soon as this ultimate trust bond has been cemented. While we briefly talked about the stereotypical hard egg to crack independent cat, the ultimate stereotype feline, and while very true in terms of the type of cat that could only look at you as the food provider, there are other reasons why a cat will look at an owner only just for meals. Various medical issues can cause cats to have an increased appetite, so much to the point where it could seem, whether true or not, that your cat, right, only looks at you for food. Issues such as diabetes, parasites, worms, hypothyroidism, inflammatory bowel disease can all lead cats to crave food to some degree. Conditions such as these would explain why some owners would seem to conclude that food is the goal, when in actuality there is something quite serious going on. If your cat seems to crave food and is never satisfied after mealtime, please take your pet to the vet for a full examination. A medical ailment could be responsible. What about downright food obsession? Your cat loves you, but they also love food and probably love food more than you. What's this all about? This is more commonly seen in cats that were rescued off the streets, right? While cats that live off the land hunt several times a day, what they find can be rather hit and miss, quite obviously. And the larger the cat, the more food is needed to sustain. Once a cat of that nature enters a loving home, that desire for an abundance of food is still there, at least at first. A food obsession. It likely stems from the fact that cats that live off the land have no idea, absolutely zero clue, where their next meal is coming from. This means that they either eat too much at once or they'll attempt to save the food they do have for multiple meals. Once placed in a structured environment, the first thing on a cat's mind after a meal is, well, the next meal. To an owner, this can be confusing, as the cat could really show no obvious and outward joy until food is presented once again. In this case, it's really not the owner or that the cat doesn't care, it's simply the fact that food matters more, especially when you factor in the history of a cat with this background, the food obsession. Of course, as time goes along and there is a mealtime standard, a cat of this nature won't stress about food as much because they'll know that a future meal is indeed coming. Without food ruling the day in terms of the mental state, the cat can think about other things, like the owner and that brand new cologne he bought that stinks up the whole house. Important things like that. So, what are some other reasons that it could appear that your cat only cares about you for the food? Well, nutritional deficiencies, that's one of the reasons. What about boredom or depression? Could your cat be eating out of boredom? This can lead to overeating if your cat is bored and stressed. It's more of a recreational meal time because playtime and social interaction with you, presumably, is missing from daily life and the daily routine. Pica, I think we mentioned this in the topic overview. I'm fairly confident that I said pica in a previous video. This is a condition where your cat has a weird compulsion to eat non edible food items. Another concern is psychogenic abnormal feeding behavior. Say that one 3 times fast. We also noted this one in the topic overview. This is not unlike the food obsession that we spoke about earlier. Adopted feral cats or cats that have lived with other cats in a home environment are in competition for food. This behavior can cause your cat, even if it now lives alone and only with you, to guard food, steal food, show general aggressive behavior around food, and quite similar to the food obsession, this behavior can be surrendered with a daily mealtime schedule Once a cat knows that food will arrive each and every day without fight or fuss, they can direct their attention elsewhere as that stress and worry has now been relieved, thankfully. Purring and meowing. Yeah, that's probably what cats do best when it comes to vocal and audible cues. If you're under the impression that your cat only purrs when it's hungry, well, explore things a bit closer. You could be wrong. Purring has a wide assortment of meanings. Your cat could want your general attention. Your pet could be in pain. Your cat could be scared, or your cat could be happy to see you. It really has nothing to do with food, perhaps. If your cat is on a meal schedule and is eating regularly, it's fair to assume that those purrs just aren't about the food and the food alone. Just as a general piece of advice, try not to overthink things like this. It'll make your head spin. Every cat has its own unique and very special personality. So, just because of that and that alone, it's best not to assign meanings to purrs at certain times of the day. Just let it ride, right? Just let it ride. Just ask yourself these questions, right? How are things in the big picture? Is your cat loving and affectionate at all other times of the day? If the answer is yes, then hey, you're good. You're good. Don't worry about those purrs around the mealtime, right? In a related concern, what if your cat only comes home for food? Like, do you have a roaming cat? Stays outside 4, 5, 6 hours a day? Is that part of the daily routine? Do they only seem to come home when it's time to eat? If this is the case, it could be wise to examine and answer the following. Are there other pets in your home? Is there a food competition? Are those other pets aggressive? Do you have young children? How is the general atmosphere of your home as a whole? In a situation like this, your cat could have potentially found another home. Because it simply views your living space as inadequate for its needs. Please remember, peace and quiet is the core objective that cats are seeking in a home environment. This is in no way, we need to make this 100% clear. This is no way intended to imply that you're a bad owner or that you've lost control of your home in some way. However, it could mean that your cat finds the environment in your home or of your home a little too chaotic for its personal taste. I mean, it happens. It can happen to the best people and the best homeowners. Some cats, whatever you've got going on, it's just not for them. They're just not into it. With that said, if this is the case for your situation, if you can identify some potential stressful triggers that your cat could be viewing as negatives that are within your home, attempt to adjust them or remove them if possible. After that, then see how your pet fares. You may find that your cat's wanting to come inside a lot more often. And on that note, that will conclude things for the video side of life. However, if you'd like more information about this very interesting and somewhat unique topic, we do encourage you to visit us at seniorcatwellness.com at the conclusion of today's presentation. There you will find a full-length and high-quality article dedicated to everything we've talked about here today and so much more. Are you currently watching us offsite? If so, we do invite you to click the initial link in the description box below. Said link will take you to all of the info. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.